Okay, we got rejected again, which is exactly what I told you would happen. Because for me, anything under 117,000, 116,000 is just noise, and it's pretty much in the range. At the same time, if you look at gold, what gold has done is gold has now put in a double top. So if you look at gold over here, gold put in a new high, and then if you look on the 4 hour, the high was rejected, and now there's a double top in gold, which gets people to think that gold may actually be topping, and this may be the top for gold. And if it is a top for gold, I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing for crypto. The other thing I want to discuss today is I want to discuss Coinbase's monster acquisition. They paid $375 million or $400 million to buy a few businesses from Cobie, and I think this is one of the most pivotal acquisitions that we've actually had in crypto. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin being rejected. We're going to talk about gold being rejected. And then we're going to talk about probably one of the most monstrous acquisitions that have been in crypto and what this actually means and how you can actually make money from this acquisition. So listen, if that sounds good to you, and I know that it must sound good to some people, then what I need you guys to do is I need you guys to subscribe to our channel. I need you to obliterate the like button because I'm here in London, and the Coinbase algorithm, the YouTube algorithm doesn't know that I'm in London and that I am doing live shows. So you need to help me by hitting the like button, and I'm going to bring you alpha. That's the way it goes. Let's get going, guys. Wakey, rise and shine. It's my last show from London. The next time I bring you a show, I'm going to be back on home soil. I can't wait to get back to be on home soil, to be in the studio, to bring you crypto love and to bring you crypto wisdom from there. Until then, we do have a lot to talk about today. I want to talk about this Coinbase acquisition because it actually is a lot bigger than it actually lets off to be. Probably one of the most monstrous acquisitions that they've been. Talk about Bitcoin, talk about gold, answer some comments, and maybe talk about some altcoins. Even though when I look at the altcoins today, guys, there's not much going on in the altcoins. Let's just quickly go look at the altcoins today. Not much actually going on. This 𝗬𝗃, which we know is a bunch of hogwash. You got Zcash running up again, and that's pretty much the only thing that's up. 𝗙𝗏 is up. 𝗙𝗏, wow, almost $400 million market cap. We can talk about that today. All right, let's talk about all of those things, and let's talk about that. All I need you guys to do is please help me by smashing the like button. For those of you who were in London this morning and you caught me at the 𝗍𝗲 conference, it was great to see you guys. Really good to see a whole lot of people in London. It was a great talk. I tell you, it was a really good talk. Bruno says it's the best show in YouTube today. That's because Bruno works for us, so you know how it is. He has to say that. Yeah. Do you want to see something funny? Watch this. If I say like a bad word, like let's say that I say, what the fuck's going on? Look what happens. You see, I've got my censorship people behind us, and they basically watch the show. I mean, you'd think in this day and age it's AI, but we're still using humans. All right, chaps, let's get going. Let's talk about what's going on in the markets. As I said to you, we did reject, or we did this climb never actually happened. So you can call it a rejection. And I said to you, for me, nothing matters until we get to 116,000 and put in a higher high. It's all noise, right? It's all Bitcoin, which is what is doing it now is it's going to chop and move slightly down. So the pattern that I'm expecting is I'm expecting this pattern over here. Pattern down, until we sweep the lows, and then we go up again. Now, what's going to happen when that happens is it's going to start shaking out the hands, and it's going to start getting people to believe that we're moving closer and closer to the bear market, right? So if you look here, when I first asked, is the crypto bull market over? People said 67% of people said, yes, it is. Then when I asked again today, you can see that 60% of people now, so 41% of people actually believe that the bull market's coming to an end. That's going to keep going as this does this. That's going to keep going. And only when we get to a point where everyone believes that the bull market is over, that's when the market will turn. And then when it does turn, it will give us such a run up, it will punish all the people that didn't believe that there was another leg up. They will all get punished. Yes, punished like a red-headed stepchild with freckles. That's how they will. Now look at these people here. Now look at them. Now look at them. What now? You're going to tell me that it's not? You're going to tell me that it's not? That I'm not allowed to say? It's like. See, they're just sitting here and they're going to tell me what I can and can't say. So the purpose of today's show is just to get them to pull faces in the back here, okay? So anyway, those who didn't believe, those who don't believe will be punished like red-headed stepsisters. Sorry, I can't say that. That's exactly what my thesis is. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Meantime, two other things that are worth paying attention to. First thing is that the Hyperliquid whale opens a short. As soon as he opened his short, you can see it on a Hyperscan, or you can see it on CMM's Hyper Tracker. You can see when he actually opens his shorts. He opened a short, and as soon as he opened his short, the market actually went down. This guy is actually quite a good trader. I would say that this guy is the opposite of James Wynn. So like James Wynn, you know, when the guy opens it long, you go short. When he goes short, you go long. And then this guy he actually seems to know what he's talking about. One other thing that is probably worth paying attention to, SpaceX. That, you know, SpaceX own a whole lot of crypto. Anyway, they have moved from one wallet to another. They moved $270 million. So people are kind of worried that they moved 2,495 Bitcoin to 2 unmarked addresses. So I wonder if they're moving them around just for compliance reasons, just to show they own the wallet, etc., etc. James Wynn always loses. You know, I think that James Wynn, there's something deeper going on there. The reason is the guy must be out of money now, right? How can he not be out of money? I've never seen a guy trade that badly. Jim Cramer even trades better than him, right? So I think that what he's doing is he opens a long on one exchange and he opens a short on another exchange. That's what I think. That's what I think is going on. Anyway, let's talk about gold, because there's a lot of talk about gold. So gold's actually put in a very interesting pattern, right? Remember I said to you, I think the gold top is almost in. That doesn't mean that the gold run has to end tomorrow or the next day or the next day. It just means that it's doing a lot of toppy signals, right? And when I say a lot of toppy signals, I want to actually show you some of the things that are actually happening here. So the first thing is, we had a double top here. That's a double top. You want to know when else we had a double top? Here, let me show you what a double top looks like. You go onto Bitcoin, you go onto the weekly, you go to 2021, and you look at this pattern over here. That's pretty much what you call almost a double top, like very, very, very close to a double top. Double tops aren't really good chart patterns, right? And so you can see on the 4 hour, it's putting a double top, and it's actually starting to correct quite aggressively. At the same time, when you look at the RSIs on gold, the last time the RSIs tell you when things are getting overheated in the market, right? Look at where in 1980 and in 1970, the last time the gold RSI was this stretched. Same time, if you look at the Fibonacci levels, right? If you look at the Fibs are saying that there's probably one more leg up over here, which could take gold to 4,800, which is about 10% from here before gold actually tops. Then if you look at the SPX versus gold, and it's moving up this channel over here. So all these things are pointing to the fact that gold may have ended its 10-year bull market. So gold tends to have 10-year bull markets. If you look at Jan 1970 to Jan 1980, that was a bull market for gold. Then April 2001, sorry. So April 2001 to August 2011, another 10-year bull market for gold. Then if you look at when this bull market for gold started, November 2015, that's when this bull market for gold actually started. So a lot of people saying that maybe gold, after putting in this cup and handle, 22.5-year cup and handle on the weekly, actually broke out and maybe hitting a top, right? And if I look at silver, silver's doing pretty much the same thing, right? So silver's also doing that multi-year cup and handle thing, and it's actually just broken out, which kind of says to me, maybe we're moving on to a more risk-on environment, or maybe we will move on to a more risk-on environment. Remember, we're in crypto, and crypto seems to be a little bit disconnected from the rest of the market. If you look at gold, gold's at all-time highs. You look at silver, silver's at all-time highs. If you look at the NASDAQ, look how close the NASDAQ is to all-time highs. Something doesn't make sense to me here. Crypto either has to catch up or the world has to catch up to crypto, one of the two. Look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is at all-time highs, pretty much at all-time highs now. So everything's at all-time highs except crypto. And I think that crypto needs to do the catch-up trade. And that's pretty much what I think we're all looking for, or what we're all waiting for. Anyway, let's move on with the show. And let's talk about this crazy acquisition that Coinbase actually did. So the way that they announced the acquisition was actually quite cool. Because first they announced that they bought and burnt a $25 million NFT for 𝗑𝗏𝗄𝐿y. Now, what is 𝗑𝗏𝗄𝐿y? 𝗑𝗏𝗄𝐿y was a crypto stream that was done by a guy called Cobie and another guy called Ledger. And they did this stream in 2021, basically. So in 2021, or in that period around 2021, they did this stream, and it was quite a cool stream, right? The stream was hosted by these two guys, Cobie and Ledger, and they did it every time they felt like doing it, and they were quite erratic about when they did it. Now, I guess that was part of the fun around the stream, but it was a very iconic stream. Like, look at this. Actually made the last week tonight. Just watch this.
But before he was caught, managed to find some emotional support on a crypto podcast. Here he is, mid-thought, getting surprised by an unexpected guest.
You're like you haven't slept in a while, and like you feel almost. Holy shit! Is that 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧?
Hey, Doe. I just wanted to let you know jail's not that bad. It's not the worst thing ever. So don't fret if that. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, it's not that bad.
Good to know.
So you can see that they used to run these podcasts. It wasn't only that, there was podcasts with CZ and Sam Bankman-Fried.
Kind of stays flat, and there's not a whole lot of volatility. So the spot market become less interesting. But to be honest, we actually took 2 years for.
So this was with SBF, and SBF was discussing leverage. I actually posted something on my Twitter, and I want to see if people actually posted their own or their best clips from 𝗑𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗧. I don't know, it would only be OGs because very few people actually watch it. Anyway, so Cobie used to do 𝗑𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗧, and he was one of these guys that he's not really a moon boy. He doesn't really enjoy the streaming or whatever else. And what he did was he kind of said, look, if anyone wants eight episodes of 𝗑𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗧, then I'm going to make an NFT. I'm going to list the NFT on OpenSea for $25 million. And if anybody buys and burns that NFT, then I'll do 8 episodes of 𝗑𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which at the time seemed like it was ludicrous. No one would ever pay $25 million for 8 episodes of 𝗑𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, because if they did, that would mean that 𝗑𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was making more money than Joe Rogan, Call Her Daddy, Armchair Expert, right? Like, it's just a crazy amount of money, and it seemed to be quite unusual. Let's just put it that way. It just seemed like a crazy acquisition, like an unusual acquisition. Then later in the day, Coinbase actually tweeted the real tweet. And the real tweet was that what they did was they purchased a platform called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is a project that Cobie founded in around 2023 or 2024. And what it does is it effectively allows founders to raise money on chain, but it does this in quite a unique way. What it does is it allows you to create these like investment groups. So for example, if I want to invest in a project, I can set up a group and I want to share my deals. I would start this group and I could raise money. So it says 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 lets investors create groups to share their investments with members. Members can join these groups and choose on a deal-by-deal basis who to follow and who to lead. So effectively what he did was he built a platform, which was a platform that allowed projects to raise money on chain. And they did this by allowing people to create investment groups on chain and to basically share in the revenue of, or to be able to raise revenue. As Mario Norfolk says, he says, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 lets any qualified investor join early stage crypto deals at the same terms as new investors. No syndicates, no middlemen. Everything happens on chain through smart contracts. It's a trustless structure and blah, 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 blah. So you ask yourself, why did Coinbase actually do this deal? Well, what you can see is that Coinbase is building a stack of creating on-chain, which allows for people to create tokens, to raise funds for tokens, to do public sales for tokens. They obviously own the biggest 6, and then they own the distribution and the utility tokens over here. So that is why Coinbase did the acquisition. Now, just some interesting stats. This Launchpad has raised, I think, about 100 and, let me just get you the actual numbers, raised 110, onboarded 10,000 qualified investors. So far, the average return on investment is 7.99. And I mean, Mega ETH is one of its biggest acquisitions. Another one the biggest capital raises. One of the other big capital raises was they raised, I think they raised $50 million for Plasma, which is the Tether chain. They raised $50 million at a $40 million FDV. At one point, that was worth 400x. And so right now, this is the #1 launchpad in the world, effectively. And I think that this is bringing a capital raise launchpad meta back to the market. So in 2017, we had this thing called the ICO. In 2021, that was replaced by this thing called the IDO. And it was a way for people to raise money using a way for people to raise money on chain. Anyway, that meta seems to be back now. But it's not the same as in 2021. There was an article which was published by 𝗙𝗲𝗄, and 𝗙𝗲 says that the ICOs are back, but the mechanics look nothing like the gas wars and the chaos in the past. This is much more structured. It's on-chain. It gets qualified investors only. And effectively, there's a couple of companies actually playing in this meta. And the 4 players right now that are the big ones in the meta is 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗧, which is Cobie's platform, which he just sold to Coinbase for $375 million. There's Legion, which was invested in by Delphi, which is integrated into Kraken. Then you've got 𝗦𝗲𝗏𝗏, which is invested in by 6-Man Ventures, which is Mike Dudas, who was one of the original investors in Pump Fund. And then you've got 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And those are the 4 big players currently when it comes to these on-chain launchpads. And what Coinbase has done is they've gone and they've invested $375 million, which by the way includes the 25 million for the NFT. And that was quite a big thing. And what it's basically starting is they're starting an on-chain capital raising meta. And that on-chain capital raising meta is super important. We need that if we're going to have an on-chain economy. One of the places you need a place to raise money on-chain. Of the 4 that I spoke about now, only one of them actually has a token. And that's 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 over here. So if you go here and you look at 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the only one that currently has a token. I don't think so. Their token is currently trading at a 200 million fully diluted valuation. As I mentioned to you, Mike Dudas from 6-Man Ventures is an investor in that platform. And Cobie actually tweeted, he said, I only started working, when I started building Echo 2 years ago, I knew it had a 95% chance of failing, but to be honest, I couldn't really imagine any other outcome. But I thought at least it would be a noble failure worth attempting. I certainly didn't think that Echo would be sold to Coinbase, but here we are. Today, Coinbase bought Echo for $375 million. And he talks about how Echo is going to remain a standalone platform. And long story short. For those of you who don't know who Cobie is, I thought maybe just a good opportunity to look into Cobie's history in crypto, because he's quite an interesting, he really is quite an interesting cat. So who is he? He's one of crypto's biggest KOLs, if you want to call it that. He's one of the most well-known, highest clout people in crypto. I wonder if I've got something here. So here we go. He was born in the UK, did computer studies. In 2014, he joined Max Keiser to launch MaxCoin. In 2017 to 2019, he worked in a lot of startups. One of the ones that he actually built was one of the first backers of Lido, which is today the biggest staking protocol on ETH. This is where Cobie landed up, I think, making most of his cash. At the same time, they launched 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which was a crypto podcast, which was an amazing crypto podcast. It used to be one of the highlights of the previous bull market. And then in 2022, he actually spotted a wallet front-running Coinbase listings, and he picked this up and he posts the proof on Twitter. And when he did that wallet, that tweet actually led the DOJ to actually go and arrest some people that were working in Coinbase. 2023 to 2024, he does this. He launches this a platform called 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. 2025, he launches Paradigm as an advisor focusing on liquid markets. And yeah, that's pretty much who Cobie is. And I guess you guys are all going to get a chance to meet him because he is doing this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, the 8 series of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I think another thing which Coinbase did here was they structured this deal very smartly by buying 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗏 and then also buying the NFT and burning the NFT. Both the monies actually went to Cobie. And that's something that I actually posted here, where I said, guys, don't be crazy. Don't be fooled by this whole thing. Let me just find my tweet. I said, don't be fooled by the whole thing. It's all about the fact that the 25 million was a PR stunt. They actually went and bought Echo for $375 million. I made a mistake over here. Cobie corrected me, said, no, total value 375 as of October 20th, including the NFT, right? So they did this because they want to show that they are strong in the creator economy. And, you know, as I've said to you before, one of the big plays here is Zora. You know that the base app is going live in November, and you know that they're going to push Zora quite a lot. And here's Zora over here, up 54% in the last month. We've called this for a while now. This is one of my bets as my top 10 tokens for the next couple of months. And so you're seeing a lot of deals happening in the streaming meta. You also saw that the Thread guy also partnered up yesterday with Polymarket. I'm sure you guys saw that. And it shows that right now, if you're in streaming and you have influence, there's a lot of people that actually want to tap into your influence. That is actually what I did my talk on this morning. You see Tim Draper from Draper TV, they're now streaming onto Pump Fund, right? So it just shows that this meta isn't going anywhere. This influence meta isn't going anywhere. And if you've got influence, someone says this mic issue is giving them hearing loss. Is there a mic issue? Someone says an echo or a mic issue. Is it maybe this? Could be this. Could be my little balls. Yeah. So it does usher in the streaming meta and stuff like that, which I think is, you got to pay attention to the influence meta, the streaming meta, the creator meta, because Coinbase want to own that. I do think that Zora is going to be the biggest play in the next couple of months. It has to be the biggest play in the next couple of months. Why? Because that's where Coinbase is focusing most of their attention. Yeah, so that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, yeah, let's talk about some other things while we're here. So a lot of you are asking me about GravityDex and why I am farming GravityDex and why you guys should be farming GravityDex. I think that what you should be doing is you should be farming this. Now, let me show you why I think it's so important. So number one is, what is GravityDex? GravityDex is literally, it's a privacy DEX where everything happens on chain, right? And the reason why I say to you guys you should be farming it is because if you would have got the Hyperliquid airdrop, you would have made a lot of money. And now here's another opportunity, because it's the first DEX on ZK-Sync, which is an ETH layer 2 chain. ZK-Sync's got a lot of money, and I think that they're going to do, what they're going to do is they're going to do a massive airdrop. I think it's going to be worth a lot of money. How you farm it is very simple, right? You take this link, you sign up using this link, you connect your wallet, okay? And once you do that, you basically just trade. And if you trade, you land up earning points for every trade. So just go and trade on it, and you'll end up putting points for every trade. That's it. And when you do, you will earn those points, and those points will effectively let you get some of this airdrop. And I think it's going to be one of the biggest airdrops, and it's happening before the end of the year, guys. So it doesn't give you much time to actually get points. I know I keep pushing you guys and keep pushing it out. Someone says ads in, I'm out. It's not about an ad. This is about telling you guys how you can make money, right? Like, you don't want to make money, don't listen. You want to make money, I'm showing you a free way to make money, right? Like, go and trade on GravityDex. You will get points for every trade, but use this link. Use that link over there. Then you get our points booster. We get a points booster. Yeah. I see that they're Good Morning Crypto. So Good Morning Crypto is another free newsletter, right? But people are going to say, adverts. Free newsletter that you can have for free. Just click over here, and it basically tells you exactly what I'm talking about in the show every single day before I talk about it on the show. Free newsletter. All right, my friends. I shall see you guys again tomorrow. And when I do see you guys again tomorrow, it's going to be back from the studio. Until then, trade well, my friends.